Hear this from today's New York Times. Study documents the paucity of black elected prosecutors. In most states, the number of black elected prosecutors, 0. About 95% of the 2,437 elected state and local prosecutors across the United States last year were white, and 79% were white men, while white men make up only 31% of the population of this country. 15 states had exclusively white elected prosecutors. Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Idaho, Maine, Montana, Nebraska, New Jersey, Oregon, Rhode Island, South Dakota, Tennessee, Vermont, Washington, and Wyoming. In Kentucky and Missouri, which also has more than 100 elected prosecutors, all but one was white. Melba V. Pearson, a Miami lawyer and president of the National Black Prosecutors Association, said a long stain caused by the imbalance was responsible for mistrust in the system by African Americans and other minorities. Now, think back to the story that I just told you about DeJuan Wallace. Black kid, he gets arrested for driving to a well-lit area before he pulls over for a traffic stop, which I have done, by the way. I mean, I've had police cars come up behind me, turn on their lights, and, you know, I drive for another half a mile or so until there's an appropriate place to pull over. You know, you don't just, like, stop in the middle of the street. Nobody's ever arrested me for that. So this kid almost certainly was confronted with a white prosecutor. And as Melba Pearson says, this is the, you know, they're responsible for the mistrust in the system by African Americans and other minorities. She says they have to see someone who looks like them. When you walk into a courtroom and no one looks like you, do you think you're going to get a fair shake? Think about that, white people. So what do we do about the South? They're screwing up the national statistics. They are oppressing their own people. I'm half inclined to say, let's finish Reconstruction. That way all the good liberals who are living in the South can continue living there. And let's just go in and clean it up. Let's raise the living standards of people. Let's change our trade policies and bring back the factories and the jobs. Put people back to work. Make the government the employer of last resort, like Franklin Roosevelt did. Start rebuilding the South. Rebuild the schools. Let's start with the schools and the hospitals and the transportation infrastructure. There's a lot of good people there, and there's a lot of good assets. So what do we do with the South? Or do we just let them continue to dominate our politics? I mean, this is pretty amazing. And this is not entirely the South. This is just, you know, what the Republicans have been up to recently. And I'm going to have to print this out again because I cannot read these. But in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 states, for every vote it takes to elect one Republican member to the House of Representatives, it takes between 2 and 3 Democratic voters to elect one U.S. representative, one member of the House of Representatives. Why? Because of gerrymandering. This is, you know, very intentional, very carefully done. These guys have figured out how to draw the map.